Cincinnati, the Fighting Bearcats. Now, people I thought it could have been like a trap game, Clint Hack, when you look at this, because Houston has won 11 straight games. Dana Holgerson at the helm. Dude shoots from the hip on everything. Their only loss was to Texas Tech, which is, just like a fluke back and forth game at the week 1 that they lost. They carried in 11 straight games. Winning breeds winning. After a while, it becomes who you are. They handle business. Hack, Desmond Ritter, Coach Fickle, Heisman talk, coaching, hiring talk, distractions. They cut all through that, handle business. What now do you expect to see? Could we see a win from Cincinnati in the playoffs? Is there any one team that you look at and you're like, honestly, they could get those guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think the way this year has played out, kind of what Bryce was saying and comparing it to an NFL type scenario, specifically within the SEC, but I think you could even expand that to really like the top 7 teams in college football right now. I think they all could now get anybody, and even Georgia has shown a little bit of vulnerability here after what Alabama did to them, right? So I think that defensively, the Cincinnati team is really good. I think that's a point that isn't made enough about them. I think their 2 corners are studs, and that presents a lot of issues. I think Dana did a great job today creatively trying to figure out how to get his playmakers coming in the backfield, moving them out, trying to get them matched up against guys that weren't either of their corners at either of Cincinnati's corners. So I think people respect it. I think their D-line plays with a high motor, a lot of intensity. And they're that wild card, man. They're unpredictable. They're hungry, out to prove a lot. I really have a lot of respect for Fickle and what he's done and how he carries himself and how his team plays. So I don't know if when you look at it on paper, there's anybody that you would think like, oh yeah, Cincinnati can get them, no doubt. But I do think that there's elements within that team and within the game of football and kind of like those football god type elements in terms of how they respect the game and play it that I think they can go out and compete, and they've earned that right to do so with how they've carried out business this year. So we'll soon find out. But I thought today was a good win. They came out at a halftime and really turned it on. It was a tighter game going into halftime, and then they had a big third quarter. I think they scored 21 points in the third quarter and kind of pulled away a little bit there. So I'm like I said, I'm excited to see the Cincinnati team and how they prepare and how they come and take advantage of the opportunity they got.
With that opportunity, Clint, can you again give me a check if Cincinnati possesses the following things? Physical.
Just generally speaking, or are we talking about top notch?
Oh, that's fair because we're in the playoff round now. Top notch.
We don't have that bubble. It's just a true or false.
Well, false. If we're talking about college, is this conversation talking about college football playoff?
Playoffs, sir. Playoffs.
Okay, false.
False. Okay. We're 0 for 1. Strikeability. Big strikeability. Offense.
True.
Heavyweight coaching staff.
True.
Okay. Now they're in there with 2 of the 3 things they're going to need because the other 3 are physical. Yeah. And we talked about styles making fights. So if you have 2 teams with a lower offensive strike ability, Georgia, Michigan.
Yeah.
So they want to tie up and go to the body and all the rest. Bama likes space so they can strike. Cincinnati likes space so they can strike. Can you point to a matchup or a team then that Cincinnati should be looking at saying, God, I hope we get these dudes?
Look, I mean, here's the deal. They ain't got a chance in hell in the college football playoffs. But if they did, George, it's unfortunate. Here's the problem. It's unfortunate because they're going to be in the 4 hole. Bama's going to be in the 1 hole, and that's the only team that they don't have a snowball's chance in hell against Bama. They're more. Everything. All your 3 categories, Bama's better, right? You hit the nail on. That's exactly where I was going to go with it. Michigan and Georgia are two football teams that Cincinnati could go into that game, and you could use the creativity, the strikeability. Because one thing I noticed today is they are super creative, and they're good with it. Desmond Ridder is good with it. He's on the same page as his offensive coordinator. The ball's out early with air, and he's anticipating some high difficulty throws, and they are absolute money. They are precise. They execute efficiently. And if they were to get into a heavyweight fight with Georgia or Michigan and land a couple of them early blows and get a 2-score lead, then you got a chance. Because I don't know that Georgia and Michigan can do it back.
Correct.
I'm not saying that is likely. I'm saying that's their only chance. And unfortunately, they're catching the one team, which I think they'll catch the one team in Bama in the first round that they just don't, like I said, snowball in hell. No chance, baby.
Bryce.
Yeah.
Hey, wake your
Welcome
ass
back.
up.
Bryce Petty, welcome to the Field of 12
Bryce,
show.
Bryce, are you there? I put in that same question.
Bryce, welcome to the Field of 12 show. This is something we do every Saturday night.
Oh my God.
In fact, our man Dagan's got a couple questions already trickling in. But Bryce, given what you know, given what you've been on the table for all year long, it's a we thing. Is it still a we thing when the playoffs kick off? And which we does Cincinnati want?
Look, I definitely think it's still a we thing. Shoot, I
Hey, what are y'all talking about a we thing? What the hell?
No, Clint. You know how Joey Wade, he says something, you just got to run with it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just running.
No.
What the hell is
down.
No. Absolutely not.
Hey, Hack, look at this dude trying to shed this Cincinnati skin real quick.
This man.
Oh, Bryce. You gotta bring Clint. There's a specific
before I got interrupted, what I was going to say is I've spoken this into existence since week 1. It's still
That's
a
true.
we thing, and we got here. So that shed
Who's
skin
we
or
again?
not,
Who's
this
we
shit's in my
again?
bed.
Who's we again?
The Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bearcats. We were there. It's still a we thing. Even though I got out and I couldn't get my damn interview with my man Ritter, it's still there. It's always a we thing.
Yeah, Bengals. Oh,
How about them Bengals? Hey, no, I didn't know what y'all were talking about because I wasn't privy to that conversation, and I'm sure we got some.
So Bryce.
Yeah,
So Bryce started. Bryce started the early on. Bryce goes on this whole rant about Cincinnati and this, and then all of a sudden he starts throwing out, hey, we got to do this and we're gonna do this. So I go, hold up, dude. Hold up, man. Did you just enroll in a Cincinnati MBA program or some shit? What the hell are you talking about, we, man? So it's a we thing now, Bryce.
Sometimes it just feels good to be a community, Clint. That's all it is. It's just a community thing.
I hear you.
I was
baby.
locked in my house the last 12 months.
I feel it. So can that community withstand a date with the Roman Army, the White Walkers, the Wolverines? Which of those three can they go get? Or who do they want?
Yeah, I mean, I'll play off of Clint's deal here because I do think they're going to get the number 1 seed, which is going to be in Alabama. And 2 things happen to me in this little hypothetical here. One is that we have seen Alabama waver a little bit to a team that can be dynamic, and I think that everybody said here that Cincinnati can be dynamic on offense. Secondly, on Cincinnati's side, there's really only been one game where they started fast. And that's the whole thing with Cincinnati. When they start fast, then it's a joke. It's over. It's done. It's when they start, in this whatever. They don't even show up in the first quarter, and then they finally kind of get rolling a little bit at halftime. They get Jerome Ford involved, who's a big-time transfer. I think he's actually from Alabama, if I'm not mistaken. I don't want to be making that up, so excuse me. But at the same time, I think that Alabama probably presents better for them, being that, attacking downhill is not a play that they want to be in. Talking about defensively. So when you have Michigan and Georgia that do want to attack downhill with their backs, and there's, I think that would cause problems to them. Whereas I think that if they can be dynamic, playing against a defense, it just matches up a little bit better, I think, for them to get to the big show with Alabama.